I look at Tyreek Hill, and I look at the Jaylen Waddle, and their speed is so electrifying. The way they can get behind the defense. I'm just saying to myself, when I look at them right now, the fact that you know what they bring to the table. It could be a 5-yard, a dip and dunk pass, right there, and they could take it to the house. It could be a short yard situation, they take it to the house. Or they could just do a fly pad, they just take it to the house. You cannot stop these brothers on your own. You got to get to the quarterback, because you can't stop them.
The Miami Dolphins are 6-3 and undefeated in games that Tua Tagovailoa starts and finishes this season. And the biggest reason for that, the insane wide receiver duo of Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. Tyreek Hill hasn't just been the best wideout in the league since he was traded to Miami, but is on pace for the greatest season at the position in NFL history, and may do what no man has ever accomplished: record 2,000 receiving yards. On the opposite side of him is Jaylen Waddle, who already has over 800 yards and has been one of the best in the league too. Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle are on an absolute tear and have made the Dolphins so much fun to watch this year. But the reality is, we are staring down history. This very well may end up being the greatest wide receiver duo in NFL history. Tyreek Hill has 1,104 receiving yards. It has been 9 weeks. Tyreek Hill is not only on pace to have the greatest season in NFL history at the position, but is on pace to record over 2,000 receiving yards, something nobody has ever accomplished. The closest ever to the feat was Calvin Johnson in 2012, who came 36 yards shy. That season, Megatron averaged 122.8 yards per game, the most in NFL history. Through week 9, Tyreek is averaging 122.7 yards per game. Yes, it is going to help that the NFL now plays a 17-game schedule opposed to 16, but nobody is going to care when the number starts with a 2 in the record book. Tyreek Hill had the best year of his career in 2018. That crazy Patrick Mahomes MVP season. Hill had almost 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns. He was amazing, and he was great every year for the rest of his time in Kansas City. He went for over 1,200 yards in 2 of his last 3 seasons with the Chiefs. Then, his time in Kansas City finally came to an end. Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs were trying to negotiate a new deal, but the two just couldn't get there. The Chiefs decided they weren't going to get there and opted to trade Tyreek to the Dolphins. Miami gave him a 4-year, $120 million deal, good for $30 million per season. As it turns out, though, it was more than that eventually led to the end of Tyreek's time in KC. He said on his podcast that he didn't really like the way he was being used by the Chiefs. He felt like he should have been used more if teams were going to have him one-on-one, and he just wanted the ball. Sounds like he likes his usage a lot more now in Miami, where he is the number 1 target. The Dolphins got Hill for a first, second, 2 fourths, and a 6th. A pretty big haul, but clearly it's worked out for the Dolphins. That being said, it quickly opened up one big question. Would Tyreek Hill still be good without Patrick Mahomes? Sometimes it's easy to forget, but Tyreek Hill was amazing before Patrick Mahomes was the starter in Kansas City. That season that Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith, Tyreek had almost 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns. It's not like Tyreek Hill was some bum before Mahomes. Tyreek Hill is the kind of freak athlete you expect to find a way to succeed no matter what. It didn't matter if it's Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes, or Tua Tagovailoa behind center, Tyreek Hill will find a way. Usually, when you have a player like Tyreek Hill, who quite literally has more receiving yards than a handful of some teams' entire wide receiver cores, well, you'd expect that to be the main focal point, and usually it would lead to other weapons being overlooked or undervalued. Well, that's not been the case in Miami. Not only has Tyreek been insane, but Jaylen Waddle has seen a lot and enough targets to also be one of the best wideouts in the league. This is really unlike anything we've ever seen. Everything we know about the wide receiver position as we know it is going out of the window this season, all because of Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. The Dolphins quite literally have 2 of the top 5 wideouts in terms of production this year, and it's a big reason why they are so good. Back at the 2021 draft, the Dolphins decided to use its first rounder on Jaylen Waddle. The motive behind the selection was pretty obvious. Tua Tagovailoa was still learning the ropes of the pros after his rookie year, and Waddle was one of his wideouts at Alabama. There was already a sense of familiarity there, and there was hope that he'd be able to help Tua develop develop, and it sure did work last season. Waddle ended up breaking the NFL rookie record for receptions in a year with 104 and had over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Waddle really did look great, and he's only gotten better since. Because of that, NFL defenses are now faced with an insane dilemma. How do you stop two different guys that can blow by you at any time? Most teams will probably consider Tyreek Hill to be the bigger threat. Say you completely eliminate Tyreek Hill. Well, now Jaylen Waddle is dominating you, and vice versa. The reality is, you just can't stop both of them. It doesn't matter if it's a deep route over the top, an intermediate route over the middle, or a short slant. Tyreek and Waddle will slash your defense and get a ridiculous amount of yards after the catch. The Dolphins knew exactly what they were doing when they traded for Tyreek Hill. You already have Jaylen Waddle, a speedster who was coming off of a 1,000-yard season as a rookie, and most importantly, needed to figure out if the quarterback that you selected in the first round is good enough to stick around. That's what Miami had to figure out, and it was going to be hard to figure out if you didn't surround him with any talent. Tua Tagovailoa has gone from a guy with a lot to prove to a guy being viewed as one of the best in the league. Tua has been fantastic, on the stat sheet at least. He has thrown for 2,000 yards and 15 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. Statistically, he has been one of the best. But why? For the most part, it's been Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. Of course, there have been other reasons, like Mike McDaniel's new offense and scheme, but Tyreek and Waddle have been the main reasons. I will say, I don't think Tua has magically turned into an elite quarterback, but for the most part, a quarterback is often just as good as the system around him. And right now, Tua is at a perfect spot. His offense is incredible, and everything around him is making him look great. I think Tua has always been a very talented passer, but Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle really have made that difference. And even when Tua underthrows a bad pass or makes a bad decision, somehow it feels like Tyreek especially always finds a way to make it work. This Miami Dolphins team has been one of the biggest teams to watch this season, and we all figured that they would be coming into the year. There were so many good storylines around the team. Tyreek Hill leaving Kansas City was obviously the big one, just to see if he could still be good without that system and Patrick Mahomes. Tua Tagovailoa was kind of on the fritz and knew that he needed to prove that he could be an elite level quarterback and that the Dolphins should keep him long term. And it's not a secret that Miami went out and hired Mike McDaniel to literally try to develop Tua, and he's done just that. Everything about the Dolphins offense has really worked, and it's really played to the player's strengths, especially Tua. He's hitting easy routes at times, and McDaniel has done a good job rolling out a lot of run-pass options for him. Life has been easy for Tua this season, and he's answered the call whenever he's been asked to do anything. It's easy to overlook and get buried this year because the NFL season has truly been so unpredictable and absolutely absurd. But don't forget what is going on in Miami. The Dolphins are putting on a passing game masterclass led by Mike McDaniel, and Tyreek Hill is well on his way to landing in the record book with the greatest wide receiver season ever, all while Jaylen Waddle is solidifying himself as one of the league's best at the position. And Tua Tagovailoa is proving that he belongs behind center in the pros. The Miami Dolphins are not just a good football team, but they are damn fun to watch too. And 99% of that is because of Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle.